Hey there, SWAT leader. Welcome to session 3. We're past all the character and integrity portions of this process so far. Now we need to move on to the nitty-gritty of actually how to launch a marksman boot camp. Now, as you know, a marksman is a skilled and accurate shooter. However, 85% of men today, they don't know what they should be aiming for, and they don't know the target that God gave them in life. Now, you probably already know because you've gone through a marksman boot camp somewhere, either in the United States or another country around the world. You know that marksman is intended for men who are 18 years or older. Now, one of the most popular questions that I get in the United States and internationally is, can we use marksmen for young men, for young boys? And the answer is yes and no. I'll talk more about this in a future video, but for right now, just know that marksman is intended for men who are 18 years and older. There is another version, Marksman Junior, that is available for younger men. So please don't use marksman boot camp materials for boys who are under 18, 17 years old or younger. Only use marksman for men who are 18 years or older. There's many reasons for this, and I'll unpack this in a future video as well when we talk about Marksman Junior. But just know as we get started that Marksman Boot Camp and Marksman International is intended and designed for men, not boys. Part of the reason why is because if we can reach the men effectively, they in turn will reach the women and the children, including the boys. It's not to say that women and children don't matter, they do, but if we can reach the men who are the heads of the household, we will also reach the families, and if we can reach the families, we can reach the communities, and if we can reach the communities, we can reach the towns and the cities and the states and the countries. So most of this training, with the exception of the videos that are specific to Marksman Junior, are intended for men leading other men. Now that being said, many pastors do not have the time or the desire to create curriculum to reach men. As a result, many pastors don't have any sort of strategy to reach men, to reach women, to reach children. Most pastors, most churches don't have a men's ministry. And those that do have a men's ministry, that really isn't a ministry at all. Lots of churches have a pancake breakfast that meets once a month, where men gather together and they talk about sports and weather and women. Sometimes they do a little bit of a Bible study devotional as well, but there's really very little, if any, strategy to empowering men to reach more men, to reach more men, to reach more men. Marksman is a fully packaged, ready to go, out of the box men's ministry strategy. Marksman is not intended to be just a Bible study. It is intended to train, empower, and equip men on how to reach other men with the message of the gospel of Jesus Christ. While it's possible for a church or a leader or a pastor to go through marksman content one time, whether through the 6-week content in the United States or the 8-week version of the boot camp internationally, it's not intended to be a boot camp that's a one and done strategy. Meaning that we don't want you to go through marksman one time and call it good, check the box and say you've completed marksman. Marksman is intended to be an ongoing strategy for leaders, churches, and pastors to have men who are reaching men who are reaching men. This is not intended to be a 6-week or 8-week course and then you're done. That's just the beginning of an ongoing relationship between you and marksmen worldwide. In other words, marksman is designed and intended to be your ongoing men's ministry strategy moving forward. It is not intended to be something that you do for 6 or 8 weeks and then you're done and you move on to some other Bible study. To utilize marksman properly the way that it was designed and intended, it's really intended for you to incorporate this as an ongoing strategy. Now, the entire journey begins for most men by going through a boot camp, whether through the United States version or the international version. To clarify, the boot camp is a non-physical course. There's no strength or endurance or physicality required for you to lead a boot camp or for men to go through the boot camp. But it is the beginning for most men who are beginning their journey as a marksman. But of course, you've already gone through the boot camp in some sort of capacity at some point, which means that you need to be prepared on how to lead other men through the boot camp. This is designed to be their first step into marksman. So how do you properly lead men in a boot camp? Well, that's what this whole section is all about. How do you lead a marksman boot camp effectively anywhere in the world? Now, after men go through a boot camp, they'll have the opportunity for them to become SWAT. SWAT leaders, as you likely know, spiritual weapons and tactics. These are the men who are leaders of marksmen. All men who graduate from a 6 or 8 week boot camp, whether in the United States or internationally, have the opportunity to apply for SWAT. The application for SWAT is 100% online. It's all done virtually and digitally, but that's the hope. The hope is that men who graduate from a boot camp will feel empowered and feel like they want to spread to other men the things that they have learned, the principles, the concepts, the training, the equipping that they've learned in marksman boot camp, and be able to share that with other men as well. So the hope and the desire is that men who go through a boot camp will launch a boot camp with men who will launch boot camps, with men who will launch boot camps, with men who will launch boot camps. In other words, what we're hoping to do is make disciples who make disciples who make disciples who make disciples. You watching this video right now and preparing to lead a boot camp is an encouragement encouragement to me because you've gone through a boot camp and now you're paying it forward. You're helping lead other men. 1 Corinthians 11:1 says, follow me as I follow Christ. And that's what you're doing. You're preparing to lead other men to follow you as you follow Christ. Marksman is just the tool that you can utilize to invite men to follow you as you follow Christ.